Chapter 16, First War of Indian Independence, 1857 to 58 CE. Introduction
1857 CE.
is a milestone in the history of modern India. While this historical event of 1857 CE is considered only as a sepoy mutiny by the British, patriotic Indians declared that it was India's first war of independence. It was basically a fight against British imperialism. Soldiers and citizens desired to root out the colonial rulers out of the country. In the present lesson, the causes, nature, and effects of this event have been explained. Competencies 1. Students understand the factors responsible for India's first war of independence. In 1857 CE 2, they recall the details of the struggle of the freedom fighters in this event.
3.
They understand the effects of the First War of Independence. Nature of Revolt of 1857 CE. The British historians considered the Indian struggle of 1857 CE only as a sepoy mutiny. However, Indian historians declared that it was a major rebellion of the people and called it the First War of Indian Independence. Vinayak Damodar Savarkar was the first one to refer to the struggle as the First War of Independence. Even Pattabhi Sitaramaiah called it the first battle for freedom. Jawaharlal Nehru was of the opinion that a mere soldier's mutiny turned into a major people's revolt within a short time. It was a fight carried out by majority of the country's population. The 1857 CE struggle awakened a new political awareness among the Indians. As a result, anti-imperialistic protest took various forms. The people who died in the struggle and became martyrs quickly became the talk of the town. We must constantly remember their sacrifice. Causes of the revolt of 1857 CE. India's economy had weakened due to the long period of British rule. People of different classes were subjected to great suffering. Farmers were crushed under the burden of taxes. Cottage industries had been destroyed, and the professions being followed traditionally had lost their relevance. People had become destitutes. The causes for the revolt can be classified into political, economic, social, religious, administrative, and military in nature. Some of these were direct causes, whereas others were indirect. 1. Political causes. The British conquests and deliberate aggression deeply hurt the sentiments of the ruling class and the common people. The doctrine of subsidiary alliance implemented by Lord Wellesley and Lord Dalhousie's doctrine of lapse made many kings and nawabs lose their positions. Satara, Jaipur, Sambalpur, Udaipur, Jhansi, Oud, and others had been occupied by Dalhousie. Due to this problematic situation and political pressures, the Mughal king, Bahadur Shah, had been reduced to a namesake king. The pension of some kings had been withheld. Royal titles of a few kings were cancelled.
2. Administrative causes. The British restructured their administrative system in such a manner that all the high civil and military posts were reserved only for the Europeans. It exposed the failure of the system to respond to the needs of the common people. Middlemen played an important role in the administration. Rule of law hastened the collapse of the social hierarchical system. English became the language of the courts instead of Persian, and it was not understood either by the Indian ruling class or the common people. 3. Economic causes. The British used their political authority to usurp India's wealth and economic resources in order to gain profit for themselves. Due to the trade interests of the British, cottage industries and other indigenous industries became extinct. The land tax policy was highly exploitative. The position and income of many talukdars and zamindars were taken away. It created a huge outflow of wealth. Commercialization of agriculture made the farmer economically weak. Severe droughts took the lives of thousands of people. All these factors pushed India towards poverty. 4 social and religious causes. Many social and religious factors were also responsible for the outbreak of revolt. The British were intoxicated by their sense of racial superiority. They propagated the theory of the white man's burden. They were proclaiming that they had come only to civilize Indians. They described Indians as savages, untouched by culture and civilization. They used to address Indians as pigs, blacks man, etc. Indians could not enter hotels or clubs managed by Europeans. Boards with the message "Dogs and Indians are prohibited" used to be hung there. Besides, they encouraged the prohibition of sati system and child marriage and encouraged widow remarriage. This move was not easily acceptable to conservative Indians. To add to this, propagation of Christianity resulted in triggering anti-British movement in the society. Hindus considered this as an interference by the British in their social system. The construction of railways and telegraph by the British made the Indians view them with suspicion. The phrase "white man's burden" meant that Indians were uncivilized, and the British had come to civilize them. It was their responsibility. The burden of the whites was to civilize the uncivilized. This was a cunning technique of the imperialists. The person who propagated this theory was Rudyard Kipling. 5 military corps. There was dissatisfaction in the Indian army. The soldiers were prohibited from wearing their religious symbols and headgear. Indian soldiers were paid paltry sums and denied opportunities for promotion. The British soldiers were given higher salary and other facilities. Indian soldiers were sent to far-flung areas without any additional remuneration. According to Lord Canning's Common Military Service Act, every soldier had to go and work wherever the British ordered them to. 6 immediate corps. The period of 1857 CE was ripe for revolt by the people. Only a spark was needed to start a raging fire. In 1857 CE, a new kind of gun, Enfield rifle, that was brought into the army became the immediate cause for the revolt. Before the cartridges were loaded into these guns, the paper covering them had to be torn off with their teeth. A news spread like wildfire that pig and cow fat were smeared on this paper. This hurt the religious sentiments of both Hindu and Muslim soldiers. When the soldiers showed reluctance to use such cartridges, they were punished by the British. Course of the revolt. The revolt began on May 10, 1857 CE at Meerut. Later it spread widely throughout the provinces of North India and gathered strength. Even before the revolt erupted in Meerut, an Indian soldier named Mangal Pandey refused to use the fat-smeared cartridge and killed a British official in broad daylight in Barakpur. Later, he was also killed. In Meerut, soldiers killed each and every European they set their eyes on. The enraged mob screamed, "Maro Farangiko," kill the foreigners, and advanced towards Delhi. In Delhi, they declared the old and the last Mughal king, Bahadur Shah II, as the Emperor of India. Farangi. This word is of Persian origin. It's further used in Urdu and Hindi to derogatively address the Europeans. The revolt spread throughout North India within a short time. The important revolutionary centres were Delhi, Kanpur, Lucknow, Bareilly, Jhansi and Ara of Bihar. The riots took place under the leadership of Commander Bakht Khan in Delhi, Nana Saheb and Tatya Tope in Kanpur, Begum Hazrat Mahal in Lucknow, Laxmibai in Jhansi and Kunwar Singh in Bihar. The British crushed each of these riots. Not being restricted to North India, the revolt spread to Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Goa and Pondicherry. In Karnataka, Mundagi Bhima Rao, the hunters of Halagali, Venkatappa Nayaka of Surapura and Baba Saheb of Nargund were the prominent leaders of the revolt. Though the revolt took place in various places of North and South India, the British suppressed it within no time. Activity: collect information about the fight of Jhansi Rani Laxmibai against results. Though the struggle failed, it had long-lasting effects. It had serious consequences on India's political, economic, and cultural fields. As a result of this revolt, the rule of the East India Company ended, and the British Queen took over the administration of India. In 1858, CE Queen Victoria issued a proclamation. This proclamation promised to respect the rights, customs, and traditions of the Indians. It also emphasized that there would be no interference in the religious life of the people. The 1857 to 58 CE War paved the way for the modern national movement for independence. It became a constant source of inspiration for the freedom struggle.
Here we have some of exercises. 1. Fill up the blanks with a suitable word. 1. Common Military Service Act was enforced by Lord Canning. 2. The Indian soldier who refused to use the fat-smeared rifle in Barakpur was Mangal Pandey. 3. The mutiny was led by Kunwar Singh in Bihar. 4. 1857 protests were called the First War of Independence by Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. 2. Answer the following in a word or a sentence each. 1. What was the immediate cause of the 1857 CE struggle for independence? Answer. In 1857 CE, a new kind of gun, Enfield rifle, that was brought into the army became the immediate cause for the revolt. 2. Mention the results of the 1857 CE revolt. Answer. As a result of 1857 CE revolt, the rule of the East India Company ended, and the British Queen took over the administration of India. 3. Which were the states that were occupied by the British under the doctrine of subsidiary alliance? Answer. The states that were occupied by the British under the doctrine of subsidiary alliance were Hyderabad, Awadh, Mysore, Thanjavur, Marathas, and many more.
Like, subscribe, share,